Just check if I'm online. Just a second. So this is yeah, not online, live. 1 second. Okay, so this is live. All right. So let's start with the structure of neuron. And please excuse my voice. I'm not well for 2 days, since 2 days. So yeah. Okay. So we'll be discussing about the structure of a neuron today. And before I start, let me introduce myself. I'm Vani Kari, biology educator at Unacademy. I'm an engineer with bachelor's and master's degree in biotechnology and a B.Ed degree. Also a founder of a startup where I grow microgreens by vertical farming technology. Hi Ishan, good evening. So this is Ishan who attends classes on Unacademy, plus student. So are you that Ishan or the new learner here? Okay, so let's have a look at the kidney structure, okay, and how exactly arrangement of this nephron is done in the kidney. So that also we will have a look at. So kidneys are basically bean-shaped structures. So you have seen the kidneys, basically they'll have the structure as such, which is basically a bean shape, and you can find there is a cortex region. This is a new student. Okay, so hi Ishan. So there is one more learner as Ishan on Unacademy. So I thought if this is the same. Okay. So kidneys are bean-shaped excretory organs. You can find cortex region. Okay. Then you can find the medulla region. So this is basically in the center what you find. So that is the medulla region. The surrounding, what do you see? So that is the cortex region. Okay. So now functions of kidney when we mention, the main function is excretion. Okay, so any idea about what exactly is osmoregulation? Any of you? What is osmoregulation? Any idea about this? No idea? So, okay, so osmoregulation is maintaining the blood concentration, that is water and mineral balance, what has to be there in the blood. So that maintenance is also done by the kidney. So it is not only the excretion function where the urine formation is occurring by the kidney. So associated with that, you can also find the osmoregulation function where the blood concentration, that is water concentration and mineral concentration in the blood, is mainly maintained by the kidney itself. Okay, so that is as urine formation is occurring by filtering out blood itself. So you can find the concentration of blood is also maintained by the kidneys there. Okay, so in that case we call it as a osmoregulation. Then kidneys help in filtering of the blood. So since they are filtering the blood, so urine formation is occurring, and with that what concentration of water, what concentration of mineral has to be there, so that also is maintained in by the kidney itself. Okay, so urine is basically a filtrate. So when you filter something, okay, the liquid which is coming down, so that is basically a filtrate. Okay, the remaining part is basically the blood, so which will flow down and it will float back to the heart there. So in this case, the filtrate what is received, so that is exactly the urine, where the urea is mainly the main nitrogenous waste which we can find. Okay, hi Fatima. So which chapter is this? So this is excretory system, class 10 ICSE. Okay, so in class 10 you will find it, but yes, in state board also there is excretory system. So even if you are considering about CBSE, there is excretory system. So this is anyway I'm taking for class 10 excretory system. Okay. Alright, so let's have a look at this. So this is what? So this is basically a nephron. So the structural and the functional unit which you can find in kidney, so that is nephron. And the nephron when we mention, so basically it is the one which filters the blood. So let's have a look at, so let's say this is a kidney now, okay, and how exactly this nephron is situated. So this is a huge structure here, right? So how exactly millions of nephrons, so it is not 1 or 2 nephrons which are situated here. So you can find nearly about 1 million nephron which is there in each kidney. So that means there is a cortex region here, okay, that is surrounding area. So then this region is called as the medulla. So let me just label. So you can find the cortex region and there is a medulla region. So this region is basically the medulla region. Okay. So now what exactly happens is, so this nephron, what you see, so this is located in the cortex region. So let's have a look at this. So before I start with the location, so we'll see the structure of nephron first so that you'll understand how exactly it is situated. Sorry, excuse my cough. I'm actually having cough and cold since 2 days. So let me just have some water. Okay, so let's see this. So I'll just explain you the structure of nephron first. Okay, so let's see this. Now this is the structural and functional unit. So that is nephron. Okay, so which can also be called as kidney tubule. Okay, so this can also be called as kidney tubule. So you can also call this as uriniferous tubule, renal tubule. Okay, so every alternate name which is given in your book, so you need to know that. Okay, so this is a uriniferous tubule as well. So we'll have a look at the structure of this. So now this is Bowman's capsule. Let me just draw it a little on the lower side. Let me just take this. Okay, so let's see the structure of nephron first. Okay, so this is basically the Bowman's capsule. Okay, where you can find the Bowman's capsule is going down and it is forming the convolution. So this is the tubule. Okay, so this one is PCT, proximal convoluted tubule it is. Okay, so we'll just draw this as PCT. So then we'll move down and this is gonna be a Henle's loop. Okay, so this is basically coming into the medulla region. So this region, this part what you see, so this is actually in the cortex region. So this is coming down and this you can find in the medulla region. Okay, so now there is a DCT over here. So this is basically the DCT. Okay, so we'll just label this as DCT and this is Henle's loop. Okay, so this one is Henle's loop and this is connecting where? This is connecting to the collecting duct over here. Okay, so this one is collecting duct. So now let's draw the afferent arteriole. So let me just label this. So this part what you see, so this is basically the Bowman's capsule. So this is called as Bowman's capsule. So PCT is nothing but a proximal convoluted tubule. So why exactly the name is like that? The meaning of proximal is nearer. Okay, so you can find this tubule is convoluted. That is, it is having some convolutions, that is tube like. Okay, so in that case this is a proximal convoluted tubule. So that is one which is nearer to what? Nearer to the Bowman's capsule. Okay, so since the proximal meaning is nearer and since it is nearer to the Bowman's capsule, so this we call as the proximal convoluted tubule. So you can find one more convoluted tubule there. So that is one more convoluted tubule is distal convoluted tubule. Okay, so why exactly are we calling it as a distal convoluted tubule? Because it is at a particular distance from the Bowman's capsule and this convoluted tubule which is it, so this we call as DCT. Okay, so this is a distal convoluted tubule. So now the labeling of this is done. So we'll just label this one also, so better. So this is this one is descending limb. So since it is coming down, so we'll just call this as descending limb. Okay, and since again after looping over, so this is going up, right? So we can call this as ascending limb. So any doubt till this part? So this is ascending limb. And what exactly is this? So this one is collecting duct. Okay, so this is collecting duct. Clear? Any doubt? So till this you guys have any doubt, you can ask me. No doubt? Okay, so let's have a look at the other parts. So now there are certain labelings that we need to do. So let me just go for the labeling part. So this is anyway structure of nephron, which can also be called as kidney tubule or the renal tubule or the uriniferous tubule. So you just make sure that you remember every alternate name which is mentioned in your book. So let's draw the afferent arteriole. So this is now afferent arteriole, which is forming the capillary as such. Okay, so this is forming the capillary. Okay, so now with this you can find the capillary as compared to, okay, so let me just draw this first. Okay, so now this is what is there. So now here you can see there is a capillary formation. Okay, so basically you can see a capillary over here, and this part what you see, so this one is wider as compared to this one. Okay, so this one is narrower. Okay, so now if this one is afferent arteriole, so this is afferent arteriole, and this one is afferent arteriole. Okay, so this is what, this is afferent arteriole it is. Okay, so now what is going to happen, the reason why the blood is getting filtered over here is this narrow space for the blood flow. So since there is a very less space, so we know that volume is inversely proportional to the pressure, right? So in that case what is happening, so since the volume for the flow of blood is very less here, so there is a higher pressure generated. So this pressure which gets generated over here at this particular region, so that is basically a higher hydrostatic pressure. Okay, so that hydrostatic pressure itself is filtering out the blood. Okay, so this one is hydrostatic pressure, and what exactly is collected, so inside this you can see there is a flow of which, so there is a filtration process which is going to occur. The one which is collected here, so that we call as the glomerular filtrate. Okay, so glomerular filtrate formation how exactly occurs, so this is by the blood. Okay, so blood itself is getting filtered, so there is a filtrate that is received by the Bowman's capsule. So now let's have one more, let's have a look at one more labeling, so which I did not do. So let's second. Just a second. Okay, so this one what you see here, so this is capillary. And this capillary is called as glomerulus. Okay, so glomerulus plus Bowman's capsule together, so both of them together, so we call it as, I hope you can see this. One second, let me check. Yeah, I'll just write it down here. So this is basically the Malfeasion capsule. Okay, so glomerulus plus Bowman's capsule together, so we call it as a Malfeasion capsule, isn't it? So any doubt till this part, any of you? So let me just check. Okay, there are no doubts, right? Okay, so this is the overall structure. So where the pressure generated and the filtration of blood occurs, so that step is called as ultrafiltration process. Okay, so let's have a look at the one which is given in your book. So kidneys are basically, now you know the structure of kidney tubule. Okay, so how exactly it looks. So this is the structure of kidney tubule. So let's have a look at the kidney structure and how the arrangement is done, so that you will understand the location of this nephron inside the kidney. Okay, so now the kidneys are basically tube shaped, and this I have taken from Selena. Okay, so kidneys are basically two bean shaped organs which is about 10 centimeter long, and they are having 6 centimeter width. Okay, so they are 6 centimeter wide. So this is basically 10 centimeter long. Alright, and this is basically 6 centimeter wide. So you have this 10 centimeter scale, right? So 15 centimeter it will be there. So just imagine 10 centimeter how much it is. It is that big, the kidney. Okay, so then located on the urinary bladder. So you can find here, this one is the urinary bladder. Okay, and how this kidney and urinary bladder are connected. So once the urine formation occurs here, okay, so there is a collecting duct, okay, through which the urine flows down. So this ureter, the pelvis region of this ureter which is there, so that is going to collect the urine from here into this ureter. You can see there is a flow of urine which is basically emptied into this urinary bladder. So urine formation occurs here, then the urine formed is going to flow down into the urinary bladder. Alright, so that means, so it is located on urinary bladder. So the urine is intermittently emptied from the urinary bladder, okay, to the outside of body, that is through the urethra. So through the urethra the flow of urine will occur. So that is only under the impulse from the brain. Okay, so now the opening of this one, so you can see there is one more labeling, that is sphincter. Okay, so sphincter is nothing but sphincter muscle. So once the impulse is received by the brain, okay, just a second. Yeah, so once the impulse is received by the brain, so you can see basically this sphincter muscle is going to relax. Okay, and once the relaxation of the sphincter muscle is done, so you can see there is a urination or the micturition process. So as mentioned here, so opening of the ureters into the urinary bladder, so they are somewhat projecting. So that means, now you know this ureter is not straight as such. So let me just explain you this. Okay, so now you can see this part. This one you can see this projecting. Okay, so it is not right away straight, so it is basically projecting. So what has happened? So whenever this bladder contracts, okay, so whenever there is a contraction in the bladder, that is for micturition, so you can see there is a chance that backflow of urine can occur. Okay, so whenever urinary bladder contracts, so in order to avoid that, this particular ureter which is projecting into the urinary bladder, so that is somewhat projecting, so it is not straight away like this, so that the backflow of urine is prevented, and you know the through the sphincter only, that is on the upon the relaxation of sphincter muscle, so there you can see the urination or the micturition is possible. Hi Sohal, so you want me to explain from which book you are teaching? So this is I have taken from Selena. Okay, so this is from Selena. I hope you all are referring Selena itself. So आप हिंदी नहीं बोलते क्या? I can speak Hindi. You want me to explain it in Hindi or what? But anyway, so since I am from Bangalore, so I'm not so fluent. But anyway, I can manage. So I can explain it in Hindi also if you guys want. Not so fluent. That's all. Otherwise, anyway, I can explain. Okay, so now what happens? The opening of this ureters are somewhat projecting and act like walls. So these projecting structures are acting like walls. Okay, so this is the walls which will prevent the backflow of urine. Okay, so in this case, when the bladder contracts, so when the bladder contracts, so there is a chance that the blood, I mean not the blood, the urine can flow back. So that is backflow through the ureter can occur. So in order to prevent that, so there is basically a sphincter muscle which is present. Okay, so the sphincter muscle is going to or relax or open up, we can mention. So it will relax and the urination is possible. Please use bilingual. Yes, I'll do that. Okay. So which book? Okay, so that was previous one. So I hope you all are referring Selena itself. I think in your schools also they ask you to refer Selena itself, because I have taken a training for ICSE evaluation, and mainly the evaluation is done based on the Selena. Okay, so make sure that while you prepare, while you are preparing for any of the chapters, so just make sure that if you are asking the location, okay, so location, they'll ask the exact location, and that location what you are writing, so that should be the exact location as mentioned in your book, and it is specifically preferably from Selena itself. And that's how lots of learners lose marks, because they write their own sentences. So you might be right. Okay, so whatever you have written your own sentences, so that might be absolutely right, but what happens if according to you that might be right, but while you are writing, so the location might have changed to some extent. Okay, so in that case, just make sure that you are writing it exactly as it is given in the Selena. Okay, so as mentioned here, so kidneys are two bean shaped organs which are about 10 centimeter long and 6 centimeter wide, located on the urinary bladder. Samajh gaye? So I'll try to speak in Hindi also. So I hope you guys understood. Okay, so now what happens? So this will guard the opening of the bladder into the urethra and relaxes only at the time of urination or the micturition. So that is under an impulse. So only when the impulse is coming from the brain, okay, so then this sphincter muscle is going to relax and the urination is possible. So this one we already discussed about the structure of nephron, but the internal structure of kidney I haven't discussed, so we'll just have a look at this. So this is the structure that you need to draw. Okay, so they have mentioned here, so along with the blood supply, so A is given a simplified one, so this is with blood supply they have shown. So while you are drawing, if they are asking you to draw renal artery, then आप लिख सकते हैं. So if they are asking, okay, otherwise what you can do is you can just draw this one. So this, if you draw, this is more than enough. So they can ask you to draw this. So this has come for drawing many times. Even the Malfeasion capsule, they have asked you to draw the nephron structure, or the overall this structure is there, no? So this also has been asked previously. So all these diagrams, the nephron structure, I'll show you this also. Okay, so all this, make sure that you are drawing them. Okay, so you just be perfect with these diagrams and the labeling which is done. Okay, so let's have a look at this, the internal structure, like I already mentioned. So let's say kidney. Okay, so this is basically the kidney structure. All right, so now in this kidney structure, so always again make sure that two layers you are drawing. So now this is one layer. Okay, so there's one more covering, so that means there is one more covering that you need to draw. Why? Because there is a capsule. Okay, so it is a way of protection. So this one is anyway not labeled in your book, so just make sure that while you are drawing kidney, so you are not just drawing one outer covering but two. Okay, so two coverings has to be there, so you'll get full marks. Okay, so don't forget to draw two layers here. So even with respect to other, while I am explaining other chapters, so I'll explain you how to draw these without forgetting these layers. So you need to draw it, because they will cut the marks if there are two layers. Okay, so excuse me. I'm having cold and cough since 2 days. I'm just managing it like this. Okay, so let's see this. So now this part is basically, you can find there is a cortex region. Okay, so this is what? This is cortex region, and this cortex region gives the dotted appearance. Okay, so why exactly this gives a dotted appearance? Hi, RRRKKK. Okay, so what is that name? RRR movie. What is KKK? Okay, so this is basically a dotted appearance, and this dotted appearance is mainly by the location of the nephrons inside this cortex region. Okay, so now this is what? This is cortex region, and as I mentioned, so this is medulla region. Okay, so now this will be completely dotted appearance. It will have a complete dotted appearance as such. Okay, and other than that, you can also find, so let me just show you this. Okay, so now there, why exactly it looks like this is, so there is Bowman's capsule. Okay, and with that you can also find there is a glomerular filtrate, so it will move down, and there is PCT you can find, so PCT is there. Then Henle's loop you can find over here in the medulla region. Okay, so this is Henle's loop, and then you can find a DCT over here. So then you can find a collecting duct. So that means you can find in this region the conical pyramids. Okay, so these conical pyramids, what you find here, so these are basically striated, and they are made of what? So these striations what you see inside, so these are basically made by Henle's loop. So let me just label this. So this is the conical pyramid here. Okay, so this conical pyramid is having, or the renal pyramid it is basically, you can find. So this is the renal pyramid. So this renal pyramid, when we mention, so this is mainly having Henle's loop. All right, and along with that you can also find the collecting duct. So in case of medulla region, okay, so this is the medulla region. So in medulla region you can find Henle's loop and the collecting duct. Then what about the cortex? So in cortex you can find the Malfeasion capsule, PCT and DCT. So this and all you can find, and that's the reason it gives the dotted appearance. And here you can find striations mainly. Okay, just a second, where is this cursor? Okay, so this is the striated appearance. So now by the base of all this, you can see there is a pelvis formation. So this is the pelvis, that is expanded form of ureter. So this pelvis is going to form the ureter. Okay, so now this part is ureter, which will join back the urinary bladder. So now what exactly is pelvis? Pelvis is the expanded end of one of the ureter. So ureter is there, so one end of the ureter is basically expanded, so this we call as the pelvis. All right, impulse is basically a message from the brain. Okay, so once the message is sent from the brain, okay, so upon that message only the sphincter muscle is going to relax. So KKK is what? A Night King Killer. So RRR is what? So RRR movie. So do you guys watch movie? Have you watched the movie RRR? Okay, so let's have a look at this. So cortex region, this I explained, like how exactly proximal and why exactly we call it as a DCT in this structure. So in the very beginning of this class, I explained you the structure also. So other than that, if you guys have any doubt, so this and all is ultrafiltration process. Okay, so you can anyway know that. So any doubts you guys have? Okay, so another name for renal tubule. So like I said in the very beginning of the session, you need to know every alternate name mentioned for any particular part of the body or any particular thing that they have mentioned an alternate name is given. So just make sure that you remember alternate names also. They can use the alternate names and you might keep thinking like what exactly is this. So don't just stick on to one particular name. So remember every alternate name. So now this is another name for renal tubule is uriniferous tubule. Okay, not the neuron, not the kidney, not the renal. So it is basically a uriniferous tubule. So Bowman's capsule and the glomerulus together. So that is called as Malfeasion capsule, filtrate, renal tubule, kidney tubule. Any idea what is this? Malfeasion capsule. Right? Then the reuniting capillaries of glomerulus. So these are going to form what? So they are going to form the afferent arteriole. Okay. So opening of the sphincter muscle for maturation is by the impulse from brain. So whether this is true or false? Yes, this is true. Only upon the impulse from brain. So there is a sphincter muscle which will relax and the urination is possible. Okay. I hope you understood. So any doubts you have, so you can just search Vani Kari ICSE class 9 and 10 biology, okay, on Telegram. So any doubts you have, you can ask me there. Okay. Alright, so thank you all. We are done with the today's session. So you can also subscribe to our new channel. So that is ICSE and ISC Masters. You can click on bell icon to get notified about the session. Like and share the video. And if you need this PDF, so you can join my Telegram channel. So there I'll anyway send the PDF. Okay, so you can just ping me there. Alright then, see you all in the next session. Bye bye everyone. Take care. Thank you all.